The Temple Mount, a place where heaven and earth meet. For millennia, this small plateau in Jerusalem has held profound significance for Jews and Christians alike. It was here that King Solomon, in all his wisdom, built the first temple, a magnificent edifice that housed the Ark of the Covenant, a symbol of God's presence among his chosen people. Centuries later, after the Babylonian exile, the Second Temple rose from the ruins, a testament to the resilience of faith. But this too would face destruction at the hands of the Romans in 70 AD. What remained was a void, a physical and spiritual emptiness that has echoed through the ages, a longing for the day when God's glory would once again dwell among humankind. The destruction of the Second Temple marked a turning point in Jewish history, a period of exile and dispersion. Yet the hope of rebuilding never faded. It became intertwined with messianic expectations, a symbol of redemption and the return to a promised age. The yearning for the Third Temple is more than just a desire to reconstruct a building. It is a yearning for the restoration of divine order, a return to a time when God's presence was palpable and undeniable. The Bible, that vast tapestry of stories, laws, and prophecies, speaks of a time when a third temple will stand once again on Mount Moriah. In the book of Ezekiel, the prophet describes in meticulous detail a vision of this future temple, its dimensions, its layout, its function. It is a place where sacrifices will once again be offered, where priests will minister before the Lord, where the divine presence will descend in a cloud of glory. This prophecy, filled with symbolic language and vivid imagery, has captivated and inspired generations of believers. It is a promise of restoration, a sign that God has not abandoned his people, that his plan for humanity is unfolding according to his divine timetable. But the prophecy of the Third Temple is not merely about bricks and mortar, rituals and sacrifices. It is about the establishment of God's kingdom on earth, a time of peace and justice, when the knowledge of the Lord will cover the earth as the waters cover the sea. The Third Temple represents a return to a primordial harmony, a time when humanity will live in right relationship with God and with one another. It is a beacon of hope, a promise of a future filled with blessing and redemption. Yet, intertwined with this hope is a thread of warning, a foreboding of tribulation to come. The prophet Daniel, known for his cryptic visions and apocalyptic pronouncements, speaks of a time when a figure known as the Abomination that causes desolation will stand in the holy place. This event, shrouded in mystery and dread, is seen by many as a sign of the end times, a precursor to the return of the Messiah. The identity of this figure, often referred to as the Antichrist, remains a subject of much debate and speculation. Some believe it will be a political leader, a charismatic tyrant who will deceive the nations and wage war against God's people. Others see it as a spiritual force, a manifestation of evil that will seek to usurp God's authority and lead humanity astray. Regardless of its specific form, the Abomination of Desolation represents a time of great upheaval and spiritual darkness, a time when the forces of good and evil will clash in a final cosmic battle for the souls of humankind. Section 4. Islamic Perspective. A Place of Judgement. The Temple Mount, known in Islam as Haram al-Sharif, or the Noble Sanctuary, holds a significant place in Islamic tradition as well. It is believed to be the site where the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven on his night journey, a miraculous event described in the Quran. While Muslims do not share the Jewish aspiration to rebuild the temple, they revere the sanctity of the site, particularly the Dome of the Rock, a magnificent shrine built in the 7th century AD that commemorates Muhammad's ascension. Islamic prophecy also speaks of the end times, a period of great tribulation and upheaval that will precede the Day of Judgment. While interpretations vary, some Islamic scholars believe that the rebuilding of the Third Temple is a sign of the approaching end times, a catalyst for a final confrontation between good and evil. This belief underscores the sensitivity surrounding the Temple Mount, a place where religious and political tensions often collide. Section 5. Echoes from the Past Old Testament Prophecies. Throughout the Old Testament we find echoes of the yearning for a restored temple, a place where God's presence dwells among his people. The psalmist, in his heartfelt prayers and songs of praise, longs for the day when he can return to Zion, to worship in the temple courts. The prophets, those fiery messengers of God, speak of a time when the nations will stream to Jerusalem to seek the Lord and learn his ways. These ancient texts, imbued with a deep sense of longing and hope, continue to resonate with believers today, fueling the desire to see the Third Temple rebuilt in our time. The Old Testament prophecies provide a historical and theological context for understanding the significance of the temple. It was not merely a place of sacrifice, but a symbol of God's covenant with his people, a place where heaven and earth met. The rebuilding of the temple, therefore, represents more than just the reconstruction of a physical structure. It signifies the restoration of a broken covenant, a return to a right relationship with God. Section 6. The Temple Mount Today, a confluence of faith and politics. Today, the Temple Mount stands as a lightning rod, a focal point for religious and political tensions that have simmered for centuries. For Jews, it remains the holiest site in their faith, a place where they long to rebuild their temple and see the fulfillment of ancient prophecies. For Muslims, it is a sacred sanctuary, a place where they come to pray and connect with their own rich history and traditions. The competing claims to this small piece of land, freighted with such profound religious significance, have made it one of the most contested and volatile places on earth. The political realities of the Middle East further complicate the situation. The Temple Mount is currently under the custodianship of the Islamic Waqf, a Jordanian-appointed trust, while Israel controls access to the site. Any attempt to alter the status quo, particularly any move towards rebuilding the temple, could ignite a firestorm of controversy and violence, with unpredictable and potentially catastrophic consequences. Section 7. Awaiting the Dawn, the Enduring Hope. Despite the obstacles, the dream of a third temple continues to burn brightly in the hearts of many. Some believe its construction is imminent, a sign that the end times are upon us. Others see it as a distant hope, a goal to be worked towards through prayer, education, and political action. Regardless of one's perspective, the yearning for the Third Temple speaks to a deep human longing for a world transformed, a world where peace and justice reign, and where God's presence is once again manifest among humankind. The story of the temple is not just an ancient tale, it is a living narrative, unfolding in our own time. It is a story of faith and resilience, of destruction and hope, of the enduring human longing for a connection with the divine. As we gaze upon the Temple Mount, we are reminded that we are part of this unfolding story, and that the choices we make today will shape the world of tomorrow.